On today's episode of Gathering the Kings.
I hope the listener's paying close attention to you because you're giving them really good stuff here. We can overcome that negative voice. You are overcoming every day. Yeah. This morning at 4:45 when my alarm went off, that voice was in my head too. And he tried to tell me that I wanted to go back to sleep also. And I had to kick him in the face. I guess the encouragement to the listener there is that overcoming doesn't look like your world just gets perfect. Overcoming just looks like you just get strong enough to actually do what you say you're going to do.
You are listening to Gathering the Kings with Chaz Wolfe, featuring fellow 7, 8, and even 9-figure business owners who have real battle scars from business and life, but have prevailed as the king that they are designed to be. We welcome high-performing entrepreneurs to the stage in order to reveal the real of the real on what it takes to build a successful business today. We dissect the good and bad decisions they've made along the way that give a true and accurate picture of the journey of success and how you too can get there. Through this dialogue, you will learn the value of growing your network and surrounding yourself with power players and kings like today's guest. Grab your pen and notebook because we're about to dive in.
What's up, everybody? I'm Chaz Wolfe, Gathering the Kings podcast. Today, special episode, another queen here on the stage, Zeynep Ekemen, Queen Z. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Wonderful and honored to have you here. You have such a cool product and business that has gonna give us a little twist. We've never had quite something like this, and I have got to know the story. So hurry up quick. Tell us what kind of business that you have because I want to hear all about it.
Sure. So the name of my company is called Silver Defender, and we manufacture antimicrobial films for high touch points. These high touch points are things like door handles, elevator buttons, railings, push bars, grocery cart handles, pretty much everything you're touching once you leave your home, we cover and protect.
I love that. And so just to make this, because I went to your website and I'm like checking it out, going, what, like, okay, like I get it, kind of what it like, And so you're covering up these touch points with a, let's call it a tape. I know that's not it, but here my small mind over here with a tape that not only protects the thing, but it protects us. Like it cleans itself. Is that what I'm understanding?
Correct. So it's a self-cleaning film, meaning that nothing can survive on the surface of the film. So it ionizes through different factors like air pressure and light and the salt from your hands. There's a lot of like science behind the product, but
Wow.
basically nothing can land on the surface. So whenever you see the film and you touch it, it's 99.9% clean all the time. So it's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you just, broke the minds of thousands of listeners as you're saying this, because it's like, well, wait a second. You don't have to clean it. You don't have to wash it. You don't have to wipe it down. You don't have to use sanitizer. What?
You don't have to do anything to it. You install it once and you just leave it on. It's great for years. We have testing after 2 years, millions of hands touching a door handle, and it still comes back at 99.9% clean. So the more
Wow.
it's used, the more it's actually ionized from the
Yeah.
salt from your hands. So yeah, it's a
Yeah.
pretty cool product.
Wow. I'm 6'5", and so anytime I come in and out of a door, I'm never actually touching the handle for this exact reason, because everybody else touches the handle. I'm tall enough where I can just push it up here where nobody else can reach.
That's good.
But now I'm looking for doors that have this product on it, and because then I can just touch it. We're good to go, right?
And that's exactly why the product was invented. Like I tell this story all the time because everybody says, how did you come up with this idea?
Yeah.
And it's literally a friend of mine in 2018, 2 years before the pandemic. We were at Starbucks. He was coming out of the bathroom holding a bunch of paper towels in his hand. And he comes out of the bathroom and he just speaks to whoever's listening to him and says, somebody has to do something about these door handles. They're disgusting. And that's where like that light bulb moment happened for me. And I was like, there's my invention that I've been looking for.
Yeah. Okay. So let's break this down, because you went from a friend having a problem to invention in 2 seconds, which I'm sure it happened like that. But I got to know more, because we get these ideas, especially as entrepreneurs, whether they're inventive ideas or innovative ideas for our businesses. Sometimes we think about it and it goes in one ear and out the other. Sometimes we think about it a little bit longer and never do anything. Sometimes we think about it, actually do something. For you, what about this moment allowed you to go, no, like this is it, and I'm going to go do it?
So it was definitely a process. It didn't happen, yes, it did happen in 2 seconds, but it was like decades in the making. So I have another company. I do commercial real estate. I have a commercial real estate firm that focuses on daycare national development centers, which is just it's a good career, but it's just
Yeah.
boring. It's just um so
Good
I've
cash flow.
Good cash flow, exactly. I've been watching Shark Tank since like season 1. I've been watching
Wow.
it every single episode. And you watch it and I'm sure you and everybody else listening said, I should have invented this. I could have thought about that. So I
Yeah.
always knew I wanted to invent something and I knew eventually it will just come to me. Like Lori is one of my favorites on that show, and she has like 136 patents, I believe. Like she's such a boss. So
Yeah.
I always looked up to her and I was like, I can invent something one day. And I was just waiting. I'm like, something will come to me. And I always knew if you can find a solution to a problem, there's your invention, there's your business. And this is a solution to everyday problem. So
Yeah.
that came about.
What's the application of this? Obviously, you already gave us the practical, like put it on a door handle, elevator, but who's your client in this? Who are you reaching? Who's buying this? Who's applying it?
So if you look at our website, we have I say like our little bragging logos of the customers that use our products. And it's pretty much every single industry across the board. So if you think about it, everybody has a door. No matter what business you are, there is
Yep.
a door you need to enter. There is an elevator you need to push. So our customers are anywhere from office buildings, schools, airports, zoos, banks, you name it. Anyone that has a door is pretty much a customer. But, we do have some really, really cool customers that used our product during the pandemic. We have the World Trade
Sure.
Center buildings, which was one of our very first customers. And
Wow.
as a startup, seeing your product on the doors of the World Trade Center building was literally mind blowing. Like I would drive there once in a while just to see it's still there. And
Yeah.
then we have like NFL, MLB using our products. Yeah. So it's been definitely growing.
Yeah, well, you throw, like you said, you kind of throw out some really big clients there, and I'm sure it felt surreal at the beginning, probably a little bit more normal now. But do you think that these large organizations are using it because it shows that they're health conscious or that they're safety conscious? Like, what is the pain point that they're solving by using
So
your
to
product?
be honest with you, so we created the product, and I'm one of the inventors of the product. So the product was invented in 2018, but we didn't launch it until January 2020, and we had no idea there was going to be a pandemic or a
Wow.
worldwide shutdown. We took 2 years of research and development because we knew that we have a product that can literally change the world and make it a cleaner place. So we thought we had the next Purell type of product. When you say Silver Defender, we want people to say, oh, that's that antimicrobial film. The
Yeah.
way when you say Purell, you associate it with hand sanitizer. So we
Right.
took 2 years to perfect the product, perfect the formula. There was so much testing done, so many prototypes. And 2020 January, we were like, okay, we have the best version of the product possible. Let's put it out on the market. We put it out on the market. 2 months later, the world is shut down. So we were literally at the right place at the right time, but the product was ready to go. It wasn't like a
Yeah.
rushed product. So it was kind of like a good timing for sure. And
Yeah.
that's when customers came in. These customers all needed the product, the demand was there, and we had
Yep.
the solution.
Yeah, absolutely. And so now that the, pandemic is over, but yet still people are very, I would say, health conscious or aware of maybe germs or dirt or passing things back and forth. Is that the piece now? It's like, so I'm going to go into this business because I feel comfortable, or what is it that the World Trade Center or the MLB is providing for me, the consumer, where I'm going to keep doing business with them? Because obviously that's their advantage, right?
So I always say launching Silver Defender at the height of the pandemic was a blessing and a curse because we became a worldwide brand overnight. Within 6 months, our product was in every continent around the world. Like you go to Australia, I was in the Australia Opera House. Like we were in really, really cool places all over the world. But then again, at the same time, it became a pandemic product. So when the pandemic ended, our sales declined significantly. We had about 18 competitors that came onto the market when they saw what we were doing. The product
Wow.
was nowhere near ours, and I can, say that because I ordered all their products. I compared it to ours. I always say we're the Apple brand, and they're the rest of the brand.
Yeah,
Uh, right now, they're all out of business because they were in it for the pandemic. So we're
that's
in
right.
it for the long run. So
Yeah.
right now, it's all about re-educating the customer because everybody has this like pandemic fatigue where nobody cares anymore.
Yeah.
But it's for everyday germs and bacteria. So we're kind of like starting from scratch again and
Yeah.
re-educating customers. So it's pretty much starting the startup all over again.
Yeah, well, and I can see how that might be a difficult, painful challenge. And I guess that's kind of where I was going is that like, the pandemic over, yes, but I think people's mindset is still in a health trajectory. I mean, my wife, even before the pandemic, was always like paper towel this or don't touch that. Now granted she's a dental hygienist by trade, so she's very aware of germs. Not
Mhm.
necessarily germaphobe, but just aware like you don't
Mhm.
have to touch that, don't touch it. Like common sense. But with your product, it allows someone to come into an establishment and just be natural and not have to be so like, oh my gosh, what's around me all the time. And I just think that that's like it. There's freedom in that, really. As entrepreneurs, I see freedom in a lot of places, or in the things that I'm trying to create for my family or those that I'm associated to. And I see freedom in your product because I can walk into an establishment without that level of worry or concern, if you want to take it that far. You want to talk about hundreds of thousands of people going to MLB or NFL or whatever. It's like the level of peace or, the removal of worry is a huge pain point that you're solving. I love that.
Yeah, so it's, the consumer, the person going into these buildings, they still have that feeling they want the product, but the problem is the buyer is the problem that we're having because they're looking at this as a PPE product. So it's kind
Right.
of like we're trying to sell face masks almost. So it's at that
Yeah.
same level. So it's kind of like going back and re-educating the buyers and say, listen, this is an everyday problem. Yes, the pandemic has gone away. It might come back, but regardless of that, do you have any idea how dirty these doors are? And,
Seriously.
talking about your wife and how she knows how dirty things are, I always see parents, like mostly moms with kids, going into a Starbucks or wherever they're going into, and I see the kid reaching for the door handle, and you always hear the mom saying, "Don't touch that; it's dirty."
Yeah.
Mom will go ahead and reach for the door. So the feeling is still there to this day, and it will never go away. But about organic growth back.
Yeah. Yeah. Until you change the world, right?
Until it's on every single door handle.
That's right. We won't stop until every door is covered in silver defender.
There
I
you
love
go.
it. Give us a little bit of your backdrop because you, like you said, you had other businesses and you just happened to want to be an inventor. Have you always had crazy ideas? Tell us about your other business exploits. Give us a little bit of your backdrop.
Oh my God, I've had so many businesses. Like, I'm definitely an entrepreneur at heart. I had one job, which was being an auditor in New York City right out of college. I have a master's in accounting. So I went and became an auditor in one of the top firms in New York City. I lasted 6 months and I said, I can't do this. I can't work for somebody else. So I quit like on my 6th month anniversary and I never went back. I had multiple businesses. It's been what, 20 years now almost,
Wow.
just multiple businesses, and that's just who I am. Mhm.
Yeah. What do you think makes not even just an entrepreneur, like you're saying, but a serial entrepreneur, one that is just one after the other, sometimes multiple at a time, like you? What's different about like we all think we all know what the difference between like a 9 to 5 and the entrepreneur, but what's different between what I would say maybe the regular entrepreneur or the person that's just getting started or just has kind of one business or one mindset from comparison to you is like, you just kind of flow through them, ideas, inventions, businesses. You're like, I just kind of do it all. What's the difference?
I mean, I think it's a personality trait. Like, I can't sit still. Like, my
Yeah.
weekends, like, I don't relax. I don't know what relaxing is or balance, these words that people throw at me, like, you need to work less, you need to have balance. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, like, if I have time on the weekends, I'm working on my business or I'm trying to create something else. Under the Silver Defender umbrella, I have about 15 products that are actually in the works. They're all
Wow.
different, but they all have to do with like antimicrobial technology. And
Yeah.
I'm constantly creating and thinking, like, I always look at Bethany Frankel, for example, like with her skinny brand, she has so many different products under that brand that have nothing to do with each other. And I'm trying to do that with Silver Defender.
Yeah. I love the simplicity of it's just my personality. I can't sit still. I think that there's actually a tribe. I was having a conversation with some of our mastermind members about this very thing. I think there's a tribe of people who, they consider their hobbies, and they look at what regular, quote unquote, regular people's hobbies are. And it's like, well, no, like I just, when the hobby time comes, I go back to work, not because I'm forced to, or because I'm overworked, or that I'm, stressed. No, it's like I get life, like what you're saying. I get life from going back to my hobby, the thing that I love, which is happens to be building a business or a new product. There's life in that for us, right?
Like it's fun for me. Like work is fun for me. Like I actually dread Saturdays and Sundays because nobody else is working and I can't get in touch with anyone until Monday. It bothers me. I'm like, you don't need two full weekends, 2 full days. But
Yeah.
like work is for me. I just love it. I barely watch TV. If I watch, because like I have friends that watch all these like shows and reality shows, and they'll start
Yeah.
talking about it. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like I can't sit there. I can't see myself wasting hours of my day
Yeah.
on like television when I could be like reading or learning or doing self development or putting it into my business.
Yeah, I love it. You're speaking my language. I was talking to my wife, I don't know, maybe 6 months or so ago, and we were talking about this idea of hobbies, and I had to kind of really break it down for her, like, a regular schedule for somebody who might be listening or somebody who's not even in business. It's like, okay, you go to work and then you get off, you do the family thing, you do dinner. Okay, cool. I put the kids down, which all that I do. And then it's like, okay, then now what? Most people sit down, they watch TV, they do their hobby, they fantasy football, whatever. And that's cool for them. Like they get permission to do that. Like that's how they decompress from the day or whatever they want to call it. And it's like, no, at that moment, I go right back up to the office. And it's everything that you just said. It's like, no, I actually get life. Just like you can get life from a show or golf or whatever. I'm going to get life from building. And so everything that Z is saying over there, I'm a fan because I think the same way.
Good.
Okay, so let's go into practicality here. You've built multiple businesses, like you said. What's just in your mind something that's sticks out as just a really great decision that you've made that we can take away and put in our own businesses?
I guess a great decision for me, this only probably applies to me or other people that might have two different businesses, is I never gave up my other business, the commercial real estate firm. And that was actually a very good thing that I did because, kind of like diversifying in different industries for me
Yeah.
worked well. Because, when one industry is suffering, which is like Silver Defenders, back to being a startup again, this business of mine can kind of fund the other to kind of keep it alive where if I didn't have another business, I might have just quit,
Yeah.
not, being able to wait it out and doing the organic growth. So that has worked for me.
Yeah. What do you think that what you just gave is a posture move, something that you can do when you really don't have to get rid of one or the other? So what would you say to the younger entrepreneur, or like not necessarily in age, but in tenure, brand new entrepreneur, and they've got this other idea? Is that like go ahead and go for both at the same time, or is it stick with one like you did for a period of time and then eventually add on the second when you can manage both? What would you say to that?
I think definitely either add on a second business or definitely some sort of an investment that brings cash flow. I mean, being from
Yeah.
real estate, I see how important it is just to have that passive income. You can just go into something as small as like you doing, single family homes or, multifamily homes that brings you, that passive income so that you have something to kind of fall back on
Yeah.
if your business is not growing in the trajectory that you see it. So definitely either multiple businesses or multiple income streams is what I would recommend.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, every well, maybe not every single one, but a lot of entrepreneurs, especially ones that are serial entrepreneurs like you and I, feel the same way. But and there is a level of distraction when you have two things or seven things or eight things, like I've had many, many times in my life. And so there is a reality that I can't be all things to all people or all businesses. So kind of go from that angle. How actually were you able to press into a brand new business and still have the other one? I assume that there's some techniques here.
I think it all has to do with like having the right people that work for you. It's very, very important not to have, quantity, but quality people. Because,
Yeah.
If you can have the right people in your business that you can trust to run certain things for you when you can't be there, I think that's very, very important. So I would say your team has to have the same vision as you on where you see your company's going. Because if you have someone that's just there for a paycheck 9 to 5, that's not going to work. So you need to find people in your team that believe in the overall mission.
Hey, kings and queens, Chaz Wolf. I want to talk to you about something that's super important to me. We put a lot of time and effort, we meaning myself and my team, into this podcast, into the content that goes out every single day. And if you have been getting any sort of value or insight from this, we want it to be able to reach other business owners too. So we would love if you would like, comment, share, leave a review, post, share again, all of the things on social media, on all the different platforms, or even on the podcast mediums of Apple and Spotify. We would love to be able to get our content into more hands, more entrepreneurs, so they can grow their business as quick as possible. Together, we are building a community of like-minded entrepreneurs who are committed to growing their businesses to new heights. So let's do this. Let's help each other. Let's help each other grow. Yeah. Is there a formula that you've followed to find those right people, to attract them, anything like that?
Not a formula, but I definitely look at like a person's like characteristics. I in the past year or so, I've started doing this program called like 75 Hard, and it was very
Oh,
like life changing for me. I don't know if you ever tried it.
I haven't, but I've heard of it. I've had plenty of clients that have.
It's brutal, right? But I always say you do it and you don't come out the same person at the end of 75 days. It totally changes who you are. It's a
Yeah.
very like rigid program where there's like 2 workouts, there's zero alcohol. And I feel like people that kind of lead that type of lifestyle are definitely the kind of people you want to have on your team. Like not a person that's looking forward to the weekend so they can like go out drinking and partying, but the
Right.
ones that are like zero alcohol lifestyle that's all about self-improvement, that lead healthy lives. It just, just works better for me.
Yeah. I think, that works better is a little bit of a play on words because they're human. Their
Hmm.
brain inside of their human is also working better because of those decisions.
Yes. Yes.
It works better for us to get those people, but they themselves probably are just optimized. I said this to just someone just a couple of weeks ago. The topic of alcohol comes up, it had come up, and I don't drink, and
Mhm.
it's a scenario right here where it's like, look, I'm not against that for you per se, no judgment, but for me, I'm trying to optimize every area of my life, and I don't see how that can help me. So
Exactly.
why would I do that?
Yeah.
When you break things down simply and then compare it to what you say that you want, then it's only just, am I willing to do what it takes to get what I say that I want? Would you agree with that?
Definitely. Yes.
How have you built? I mean, we're talking about mindset now. We just transitioned from tactic to mindset real quick here. How have you gone about, a mindset of, looking for other people that have great mindset? You can't not have a great mindset wanting to attract other people that have a great mindset. So what do you do to have such a sharp mind and always progressing in personal development like you mentioned?
I always say the one thing that I can say that has definitely like shaped who I am and where I am right now in my life is definitely working out. I know it sounds overrated to some people, but I wake up every single morning and without thinking about it, I'm at the gym. Like there is no negotiation, there's no days off. I might do like Sundays off, but then I will do like a hike or something. So it's never like 100% days off.
Yeah.
But I feel like that just sets your day. It just gives you so much discipline. And, we know we have a lot of friends that will drink, take, prescription drugs just to make them feel better. I feel like working out is such a natural thing that you can do for your physical health, your mental health. So I always say, working out every single day is, I think, what keeps me going
Yeah.
and makes me like a strong person. And I've been doing it probably for the past, I don't know, 15, 20 years, where it's like every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big deal when you commit to something, again, simple, right? Just go to the gym.
Mhm.
You haven't set a target of this or that with weight or I mean, maybe you do now, but what you said a few minutes ago was I just
Yeah.
go to the gym. I don't think about it. It's subconscious at this point. I get up, I go do it. There's not even a battle. And so I guess my question for you around that, and then we'll move on, is you said it's subconscious. There is no like negotiation. Do you still have a voice after 15 years that says, roll back over, take another hour of sleep, don't go to the gym, anything like that?
every single morning. Like yesterday morning, I was actually in the car pulling up to the gym and I was like, I want to turn around. Like, I don't feel like it today. And I talked myself out of it. I'm like, you're literally
Yeah.
right there. You're going in. And then once you go in, I always say you never regret a workout, but you always regret not working out. So once you're
Yep.
in there, and I go to this gym where it's like an hour of these boot camp classes where there's a trainer. So once you're in, there's no leaving. Like you're in. It's just getting there is the hard part. But you just have to make it non-negotiable. Like it has to be the first thing you do in the morning. And people tell me they don't have time, blah, blah, blah. Like wake up an hour earlier. There's always time. It's
Yeah.
just it's a mindset.
It is. It is. I hope the listeners paying close attention to you because you're giving them really good stuff here. I think that voice, first off, we can overcome that negative voice. You are overcoming every day. Yeah. This morning at 4:45 when my alarm went off, that voice was in my head too. And he tried to tell me that I wanted to go back to sleep also. And I had to kick him in the face. So
Exactly.
I guess the encouragement to the listener there is that overcoming doesn't look like your world just gets perfect. Overcoming just looks like you just get strong enough to actually do what you say you're going to do.
Correct.
Right?
It's just a mindset. You just have to be stronger than that other voice in your head.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always going to be comfort or fear, right? Like we're innately wired for fear, for survival. Like, I mean, that's why we're here today because our ancestors, we're based on survival. But right now, survival or winning doesn't have to be fear based. It can actually be, no, I'm just going to overcome this. I'm going to tell this guy or this gal, whoever the voice is in your mind, to get out of the way. Z, what is a bad decision that you've made? We've talked a lot about mindset and good decisions, but give us one of your worst hours.
Well, it probably relates back to my business again with Silver Defender. When we launched the company in 2020, I jumped on that pandemic bandwagon because, yes, the product did kill COVID. It protected people from COVID. So we kind of went with that and we marketed everything COVID related and put up signs saying this kills COVID. So we kind of, I turned the product into a pandemic product because at the time, that's what the demand was there for. So
Yeah.
now I'm kind of have to backtrack and I have to go to all of our distributors. We have to change all of their marketing on their websites because they still have all the old marketing strategy. And we have to kind of go and re-educate every single distributor we have. And it takes a lot of work because the companies we work with are, very, very large national, international distributors where
Yeah.
it's a process to change
Slow.
everything. It's a very
Yeah.
slow process. So that's probably was a bad decision, but I just didn't know any better because we were a startup and we had a product, there was demand, and we went all in. So that was
Yeah.
a bad decision.
I can only imagine that moment, you launching in January, the world shutting down in March, how that felt like the heavens had opened up and rained just complete blessing.
I had friends calling me, how did you know it was coming? I'm like,
Yeah.
it was planned. I did not know there was going to be a pandemic. And the people around me, like close family and friends, they knew the product was invented in 2018. They've been involved in this research and
Yeah.
development for 2 years. And they were like, you're just the luckiest person ever. Like,
Right.
but like I said, it's
Yeah.
a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Exactly. And I want the listener to hear that. Not that it's a struggle for you now, but I want them to hear that blessing comes and goes. And that doesn't mean necessarily that it was like what she's saying, a bad decision. Okay, well, I mean, you go where the demand is. Like that's what business is. And we have to pivot and we have to move. And so, yes, that decision has led to your pivot now, which is challenging and probably costly and taking a lot of your energy, but you have a product that you can build back up. And so I assume that you will agree that when everybody is re-educated on the actual purpose of what you're going to be for the world, you'll look back on this moment and go, well, I'm thankful I had that because now it makes me who we are today as far as a brand and as an individual. Would you agree with that?
No, definitely. I mean, I say definitely we were very lucky. I mean, we were a startup that hit multiple seven figures within the first 6 months, which, as we know, I don't know what the percentage of startups that fail are, but
Oh
it's
yeah. Hi.
great. Exactly. It's very high. And the fact that we actually made profits, made, multiple seven figures, that was a blessing. And the brand got out there. Like the biggest names in the business know who we are. They just feel that they don't need it anymore, but they know who we are.
Yeah.
So it will definitely grow back. It's just going to be a slower growth, but I'm okay with that. That's how it would have been anyway if there was no pandemic. Like that's how the business was going to grow initially.
Yeah,
So I don't have a
exactly.
problem with that. It's just, it was more fun the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, the roller coaster that you just got off of, you're gonna have
Now we're on
stories.
that really, really slow, yeah.
Yeah. Well, everybody loves a good, twisty turny, big hill that you drop down. And then what that means is that it takes a minute to crank back up.
Exactly. So we're
And
at the very bottom of cranking back up.
yeah, well, that's anticipation. It's a little bit of like a little catch of the breath from the last circles that we just did. And prepare to go another round. You mentioned earlier that the word balance doesn't exist for you. I completely agree. And so being that we agree on obsession and no balance and work is our hobby, how are the other things in your life outside of business? Meaning, for me, it's my wife and kids, and maybe it's my spirituality or lifestyle, doing vacations or whatever. How are you obsessing over those things for you? Like I'm obsessing over those things and my businesses.
Mhm. Well, for me, it's pretty much just business now because I haven't been able to find a relationship where the person is as ambitious as me, unfortunately. And I can't be with anyone that's kind of like just wants to relax and, watch the TV shows. I rather be, kind of focusing on my business right now and see where that goes than worry about the rest of my life. But I do have great friends, and doing 75 actually made me kind of make my inner circle a lot smaller and just keep very like quality people around me, people that I
Yeah.
actually want to spend time with rather than, going out with some friends for drinks or this and that. So that actually really, really cleansed my life and the people I keep in my life. So now everything that I do with the people in my world, it actually, it makes memories, it's good times, it's positive. So that's been a really, really good thing for me.
Yeah, I think that your answer, regardless of maybe a spouse
Mhm.
that can keep up with you, I relate to that. My wife does well. She may not think she keeps up with me. I think she does an amazing job, and we run hard together. But the friendships that you've described, it's like you filtered out what wasn't serving you, which means that in those other areas outside of business, you've been obsessing. You're
Mhm.
going hard after those relationships, just like you are in your business. I think that's the encouragement for the listener because they can do the same thing, whether it's friendships, it's with their kids, their affiliate with, charities, whatever. Like we just go all in and we do the things that really, really serve us and that we feel like we're impacting. Right. I've got one last question here for you, Queen Z.
Okay.
You've been insightful and you're intense, so I'm curious to hear your answer. If you had a chance to whisper in the younger Z's ear,
Mhm.
what would you tell her?
I would tell her to stop wasting so many years on things that just didn't matter, Like when you're in your 20s and your 30s, just the things that you think are a big deal and take so much out of your like mental state, it just doesn't matter. Just focus on, the future, like self-development, business, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think would be the ripple impact of the younger Z knowing that those other things don't matter?
Oh God, I think Silver Defender would have been on every single door handle by now, all around the world, if I didn't waste 10, 20 years on things that didn't matter.
Sure. Well, there's always hindsight. And then now you have the rest of your life to go make that
Exactly.
very same thing happen. So, and I know that you will. I hope that the listener has picked up just really just your intensity. I think that that's really the word. I think that you just live really, really intensely. I get the same thing. Sometimes people say that, that when you meet someone like us and it's just like, we're just so focused and intense and we just always are here. But I want to encourage the listener that yes, that I can totally see that here in Z, but outside of that too, like there's a lot of work that she's put into this. And it's not just, intensity, although that's how we operate. And that's okay. You can see her being comfortable with just like, yep, I'm ridiculously intense. I got really high standards, and I'm okay with that.
I'm going to take that as a compliment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You should. You absolutely should, because I think there's obviously, I've done hundreds of these, but there's a breed of performers, high achieving high performers, and you are the picture of that. And it doesn't mean that my life and your life are the exact same. They don't have to be. I'm me and you're you, but I I relate with the intensity, and it gives me permission, actually. So I want the listener to have permission. Like, I'm hearing from you that, like, hey, it's okay. Like, you're an intense individual. You got lots of ideas. You got a lot of energy. You want to work. You want to go hard. Go do
Yeah.
it. That's what I'm hearing you say. Would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, definitely. That just don't listen to anyone. I mean, I've had people in my life, like I said, you relax, you work too hard. I'm like, I don't work hard enough, I don't think. So don't listen to those people that are not really doing anything with their lives. Just like I always say, like always have people around you that are doing more than you so you can have something to look up to.
Yeah, love that. Z, how can the listener find you? One, if they want to just connect with you as an entrepreneur, or two, if they have doors or elevator buttons or handles of any kind that need to be protected, how can they find your product?
Sure. So our website is very simple, silverdefender.com. So they could go on our website to find out more about the product. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram, Z_Silver Defender. Like I said, I'm all about my business. So it's Z_Silver Defender. They could find me on Instagram or LinkedIn.
I love it. Thank you for being here with us. Blessings on the business and your uphill onto the next education of teaching the world what Silver Defender can actually do. And we thank you for being here with your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to Gathering the Kings today. I hope that you were able to pull out a few nuggets to go apply into your business right away. More importantly, though, I hope that you're realizing that it takes more to be successful than just being by yourself, doing it all on your own, carrying the weight all by yourself. What I have realized, not only in my own journey from multiple businesses and multiple different industries, and now interviewing over 200 or 300 other very successful 7, 8, and 9-figure business owners, is that it's tough to do it alone. And so Gathering the Kings exists to bring together successful entrepreneurs. In fact, we are putting together 1,000 kings, specifically who are grateful but not done. We're intentionally assembling kings who fight tooth and nail for their business, family, and communities. And here's what we believe: that in the pursuit of excellence in those areas, that it ignites within us the responsibility to govern power and forge a lasting legacy. So if that relates and resonates with you, and you know that you need people around you, sharp, qualified, other very successful business owners, I want you to go to gatheringthekings.com. I want you to take a look at what we're doing and see if it makes sense for you to be part of our pursuit to 1,000 kings. Talk soon.